What's up, guys? This video is going to be one of the most important videos that I make this year, so make sure to watch till the end. In this video, I'm going to be covering what exactly happened these past couple of days that caused this market dump in crypto, and I'm going to be covering why it happened as well as what you should be doing right now. So this is going to be my full unbiased opinion. I want to be very transparent in this video with everything that I say, and I want you guys to know exactly what I am doing as well currently. So let's jump right into it. If we take a look at the entire market, at crypto bubbles, you guys can see the past day, we have not been doing too well, right? In basically all of your categories, right? Your large caps all the way down to your small caps, all these categories are down pretty massive. And in this video, I'll explain what those multiple scenarios are for the near term, right? We all expected the Santa pump to come in late December, and it still might, right? We still could see this market flip around, do a 180, and we have a pump leading up to New Year's. That's still a possibility, right? I'm not ruling that out yet, but the crypto market behaves in interesting ways. It always does the opposite of what market sentiment seems to be. And the market sentiment leading up to Christmas seemed to be that we were going to get a Christmas pump because markets were kind of lagging a little bit. We were seeing some weakness, but we were expecting that to reverse, and we were expecting to see a pump leading up to Christmas, but that did not happen, right? At least that did not happen yet. We saw a complete 180 of market sentiment, and that is what crypto does, right? That is what crypto always does. So you always have to be prepared for multiple scenarios, and I'll get into those later in this video. But first, I want to cover what exactly happened, right? Well, what happened was the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. This meeting was okay. It was mainly what we expected, but there was a few things that really stood out that kind of shook the market, right? That kind of didn't really satisfy investors, and that's why we saw the giant shakeoff. But the main thing that happened was interest rates, of course, were cut by 25 basis points. Now, this was expected. This was largely already priced in, right? We all expected this to happen. If this number were 50 basis points instead, then maybe we would have saw a pump in the market. But because it was 25, it was already expected. It wasn't this rate cut that actually caused the dip in the market, because this rate cut largely is good for the market. What actually happened was that the Fed decreased the number of 2025 rate cuts from 4 to 2, right? So this is a very hawkish prediction. It's predicting that there's going to be more inflation in the future. Jerome Powell even said that inflation projection has fallen apart, right? The Fed is struggling right now to get a gauge on inflation. And in order for more interest rate cuts in the future in 2025, Jerome Powell said that they want to see more progress made to subdue inflation, right? So they want to see these inflation numbers start to decrease before they issue more interest rate cuts. However, not all hope is lost. We still have to look at many factors in the market, and there's 5 factors I want to look at to see where exactly are we in this drop, right? And when we can expect to bounce back. So let's take a look first at the most important thing, which is key market levels. So the first thing I do in every single slight market crash that we have is look at key market levels, look at the high time frame support levels for your large assets like Bitcoin. And this is crucial for you to understand whether we are close to a potential bottom. If we take a look at the Bitcoin daily chart, you guys can see that there are many key support levels that have yet to be hit that I think can be hit, right? Do I think the pain is over? No, right? I still think we can go lower. Although I would love us to bounce back from these levels at around 95, 94K, right? I think that would be great. In today's low that we hit this morning, we actually hit around 92K, right? 92.5. So that was really great to see. It was really great to see that we broke into this first support zone that I've outlined right here. But there's 2 more areas that we could hit, and one is the second support zone. This extends basically in that 88K range. So falling back to 88K, which a lot of people have been calling for, is a very real possibility. So be ready for that scenario. And if we take a look at the Ethereum chart, this is basically a proxy for your altcoin charts, as this is the largest altcoin out there. We can also see that Ethereum is hitting multiple support levels. It's crossing support levels, and it's about to hit this yellow line, which is the 200 EMA. I would love to see Ethereum touch this yellow line. It basically almost touched it this morning, but I would love to see it bounce off this yellow line very strongly. And if Ethereum were to bounce off this yellow line and then immediately cross back across this pink line, which is the 55 EMA, I think that would be a clear indicator of a reversal. and I'm looking forward to monitoring the charts and seeing if that happens in these next couple of weeks. Another thing we need to look at is liquidations, and more specifically, are people getting liquidated right now? And the answer is yes, right? Many people, almost $1 billion worth of liquidations has happened in the past day. These massive liquidation events, as we're seeing right now, tend to flush out those weak hands as well as flush out overly leveraged positions. And this process is essential to setting up a healthier market in the long term. You can see from this liquidations heat map, every single time we have a dip, we completely flush out the market, and it's basically a hard reset on your market, right? It's a hard reset on people that were leveraged long. Now, this is painful in the short term, right? Whenever we see these mass liquidations, that always leads to a market crash. But this is really good for the long term because it resets people's positions. It makes the market bullish for the long term. It wipes out those weak hands, transfers the money from weak hands to stronger hands, and it creates a more stable foundation for the next leg up. And if we're taking a look more specifically at this liquidations chart, you guys know that the market moves to the places with higher liquidity. And where are we seeing higher liquidity right now? We are seeing this area right here. This is around that 88K range. This is actually the first area that I could see Bitcoin going in the near future. I think we need to liquidate this area right here. There is a lot of liquidation pressure right here, so I would not be surprised if Bitcoin dips down to this area around 88K. However, there is also a lot of liquidation pressure all the way up here, right? So I believe Bitcoin right now is looking to liquidate 88K. It also might look down here. This is where that gap wasn't filled yet, but I think it's a very small possibility we dip back down into the 70K range. I would be very surprised. I'm not ruling it out, right? I'm maybe giving it like a 10% chance. So it's not impossible, but I don't really see the market going this low in the short term unless we do get more bearish news, bearish macroeconomic news. But in the short term, I think we're definitely going to liquidate this 88K area. It's going to probably be a pretty strong wick down and then an immediate pump up. And then we're going to see slow and steady recovery, probably into the new year. And then we're going to see these levels eventually being hit next year. Another great indicator of where the market is standing is obviously just looking at the S&P 500 and the stock market as a whole. S&P is down over 3% in the past 5 days. That's pretty big for the S&P 500, right? This S&P crash is the equivalent of a 30% crypto crash, which we've had, right? We've had a 30, 40, 50% retracement in crypto and altcoins as a whole in these past 5 days. So it's good to see that these markets are correlated because this isn't just a crypto specific issue, right? This is a broader market macroeconomic issue that we're seeing. So this tells us that this dip right now in crypto is not unexpected, right? It's not a black swan event where the market is still going up, but crypto is going down, right? That would be very concerning. Now, the next two concepts I'm going to talk about relate to crypto sentiment. And this is really important. Crypto is driven by fear and greed. Remember that, okay? Crypto is driven by fear and greed. And right now, the fear and greed index, even with these drops that we're seeing, is still in the greed, right? We're still at 74. Last month, we were in extreme greed at 83. So we've definitely dropped down a bit. And I can expect this to drop down further, possibly into this yellow zone, so maybe that 50 to 40 range. I would like to see this crypto fear and greed index drop down to those levels before I start putting in bigger and bigger positions to DCA. But right now, I'm still DCAing even at these levels, right? Of course, it's always better to buy in the fear and then sell in the greed. But nonetheless, it's good to see this indicator start going this way to the fear, because that's going to mean that there's going to be a lot more opportunity. And also, there's been a pretty massive shift in sentiment online. So about a month ago, when we had that post-election pump, you were seeing on crypto Twitter, on YouTube, on Reddit, people saying, oh, altcoin season is here, right? This is it, right? We're going to be making new all-time highs going into December, going into Christmas. There was a lot of FOMO at that time, but right now, there's been a complete 180 narrative shift. People are saying altcoin season will never happen, right? We already hit the top, right? This was the worst bull run in existence, right? This is a Bitcoin only cycle. All of these sentiments are very real right now, right? All these sentiments are getting passed around online, and this often means that the market is setting up for a reversal. Another sentiment in the market right now is max pain, right? Altcoins right now are nearing that max pain category. What do I mean by max pain? Max pain is basically when you feel like all hope is lost, right? As an altcoin investor myself, right, I've definitely felt a lot of pain. Right? My portfolio is down probably around 35% these past couple of days. Some people have it worse, some people have it better. I would say I probably have it in the middle, and this is because I have a relatively balanced portfolio, right? I hold around 30% in Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then the rest is split among altcoins of different sizes and different narratives. So I can absorb some of this market, and it makes it a little bit more bearable, right? So if I'm feeling this, if you guys watching this video are feeling this, imagine what the average crypto investor is feeling, right? The crypto investor that's going through their first cycle, that has maybe bought into crypto their first time in these past couple of months, right? Imagine what they're feeling right now if they see their investment drop 60% in 3 days, right? Imagine what they're feeling right now. In order for the market to correct and go back up, we need 90% of altcoin investors to at least feel this feeling, right? To feel max pain, we need the weak hands to be flushed out. If you're wondering who's selling right now, it's mostly retail investors who bought at the top, who bought at much higher levels than we are now, and they're panic selling to minimize their losses. We've all been there, right? But as more experienced crypto investors start buying up those coins that those inexperienced investors sold, right? That's when you're going to see that reversal in the market. That's when you're going to see a weak hand start getting flushed out. And you need to understand this, right? This cycle repeats itself over and over and over again. I've seen this exact same thing happen many, many times over. And it's important to understand this, right? Be mentally prepared for all these scenarios, right? This tracks the market cap of all of your cryptos outside the top 10. If this index goes to these levels, right, to these summer low levels, I would be prepared for that. I have a 10 to 20% USDC bag to unload at those levels. But we could also very well bounce off from this green circle I've outlined. This is the 200 EMA level. So this yellow line is the 200 EMA. You can see in the past, we've historically bounced off of the 200 EMA pretty often. So I would not be surprised if we do indeed bounce off of this 200 EMA this time as well. So with all of that said, what should you be doing right now? And this is also exactly what I am doing right now. So I'm giving you guys a very, very transparent view of how I'm going through this process and how I am navigating the markets. And the first thing I'm doing right now is evaluating my positions, right? I'm de-risking if I need to, and I'm looking at what is performing well versus what is not. And then I'm DCAing into the coins I have more belief in, and I'm DCAing into the coins that are showing more strength in this market. The next very, very important thing is not trading emotionally, right? This can mean, right, not panic selling when we see these large liquidation events, but also just staying level-headed. You have to be able to think long-term in this market. You cannot think short-term. Sometimes during these dips, it's better for you mentally if you just don't look at the market, right? And I'm saying this from a place of experience. A couple of years ago, whenever we had these sorts of dips, I would always immediately check my portfolios, check how much my portfolio went down, right? And whenever you open up, let's say Coinbase or MetaMask, and you check that wallet number, right, the value of your wallet, and you see it down 50% from where it was 3 days ago, that is going to immediately make you panicked and make you stressed out, right? You're going to think, oh my gosh, right, I just lost 50% of my portfolio in 3 days, right? What if it's going to go down another 50%, right? I should sell now and then buy back in when it's down another 50%. But that's not how the market works, right? Whenever you have those thoughts of, oh, man, I should have sold, right? Like maybe I should sell now. That's when the market tends to pump up again. And I've experienced this many, many times. So what's better for you to do is to not time the market, not trade emotionally, but rather just DCA, right? Keep your positions unless you somehow time the top, right? Like let's say you timed the top from a week ago when these coins were all, trading 50% higher, and then you timed that perfectly, and then now you're buying back in, right? Kudos to you, but not everyone can time the top perfectly. That is a very, very hard thing to do. And going off of that, you need to remember that you should only put into the market what you can afford to lose. So especially in crypto, do not over leverage yourself. You also need to make sure that you have dry powder ready to deploy during these dips, right? So my rule of thumb, I always have 10 to 20% in stable coins at all times, right? Even if we're in a bull market as we are now, I still have 10 to 20% in fiat currency ready to deploy during these massive liquidation events. And the last and perhaps most important thing, guys, remember, crypto isn't everything, okay? Take a step back, live life. Don't get caught up in daily price action. Don't stress out about the daily chart every single morning you wake up. Don't let the market stress you out and ruin other aspects of your life. There's so much more to life than just watching the markets every single day, stressing out. Sometimes take a step back, come back in a month, and I guarantee you the markets will be in a much better place. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as a side note, I did launch a Patreon a couple of weeks ago. Link is in the description below. And in this Patreon, you can get Discord access. And this Discord is really helpful, especially in times like these, right? When we all need a little bit of support, right? A little bit of support goes a long way. And you can see what people are thinking, what people are doing right now in this Discord. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.